Finally, it's time for some revenge. No, not that one. If you're a coaster enthusiast who lives anywhere near central PA, then you'll know that Wildcat's Revenge at HersheyPark has been the talk of the town ever since it was announced last year. These RMC hybrid conversions definitely bring in the crowds, but it still remained to be seen if this would be another cookie-cutter RMC with the same elements we're used to, or if this would be something truly surprising. The original Wildcat by Great Coasters International had a good 26-year run, but it was something of a divisive coaster due to its layout and roughness. The turns in particular really jostled you, with them being so bad that one of my friends still refers to the coaster as having octagonal turns. Despite this, I actually really enjoyed riding Wildcat whenever I visited Hershey. Its history as the first GCI coaster definitely helped with that. So when it was announced that Wildcat would be closed and converted into an RMC hybrid, I was sad but also optimistic, because you know that if Hershey was going to close the first GCI, they were going to make the change justified. When the first renderings of the coaster were revealed, I said in my layout analysis video that the focus seemed to be not to break records, but instead to deliver a solid ride experience that both coaster enthusiasts and the more casual park guests could enjoy equally. The layout looked good, but nothing was really jumping out to me to suggest this would rank anywhere near Steel Vengeance. Would it really be worth the hype? The time to find out came on June 1st, when I and many other coaster YouTubers were invited to Wildcat's Revenge Media Day. To start, the event was packed. Hershey really went all out inviting content creators from every corner of the coaster community. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, you name it, and there were some pretty high-profile channels represented here. I almost felt like I shouldn't have even been there since my channel's still pretty small, you know? They gave everyone some pretty cool lanyards, and at 11 o'clock we were led right in. The whole area in front of Wildcat's entrance was blocked off to public access, so that made it easy to get a lot of footage around there. I'm a fan of the lettering on the side of the station, but I will never unsee Pizza Hut when I look at this. I see that red roof and I can't think of anything else. I mean, come on, look at it. It's Pizza Hut, but no one can out-pizza RMC. The entrance is much more in your face with its presentation. Compare the original modest Wildcat entrance to the huge logo and lettering of Wildcat's Revenge. I do appreciate the section of Wildcat track that has been placed here. It gives some more character to the entrance, and it's a nice tribute to what came before. One thing to know if you're gonna ride Wildcat's Revenge, it has the same double-sided locker system as Steel Vengeance, so remember your locker number and remember your password. And don't worry, the lockers are free, and these ones are much larger than the ones on Steel Vengeance. I was able to fit a decent-sized camera bag in one without much of an issue. Unfortunately, this meant that cameras weren't allowed in the station, so I don't really have any footage to show you from in there. I was only able to get one shot by running up the exit ramp. The station plays this hard rock music in between dispatches that really hypes you up, and there's a nice reference to Nick Pantalone's original station narration because the new announcer says it's Wildcat's Revenge time in 3, 2, 1. Nick's memorial plaque is also still next to the station, so I'm really glad they kept it. The restraints in the trains are comfortable, but that's probably because I have really skinny legs. I talked to a few other people who rode that morning, and some of them complained about the shin guards being too tight and causing some discomfort. Thankfully, I didn't get stapled, and that's really important because I soon found out that Wildcat's Revenge loves to throw you around. In the hour we were given to ride and film, I rode 3 separate times, 1 time each in the front row, back row, and middle. All 3 provide slightly different experiences, but what I'll tell you right now is that Wildcat's Revenge blew me away. I was honestly not expecting much from a coaster that only goes 62 miles per hour, but my expectations were exceeded pretty quickly. I mean, you get thrown around a few times before you even reach the lift hill, and that is a sign of things to come. The first drop is honestly the weakest part of the ride for me. If you're in the back, you kind of get pulled over, but otherwise it didn't do much for me. Even the underflip, for how hard they've been pushing it in the advertisements, was just okay. You get some good hang time, but you twist back out of it so fast that it didn't really dawn on me that I had gone through it already. Might seem underwhelming so far, but what follows the underflip is my favorite part of Wildcat's Revenge. This airtime hill is ridiculous, and in the back row, you just get launched over this thing. There's even a good head chopper for good measure. The rest of the layout continues to be relentless with its airtime. There are 2 moments in particular that give you what I like to call sideways airtime, where the train is almost perpendicular to the ground and it just throws you out of your seat anyway. The first one is right after that airtime hill I just talked about, and the second one follows the 0G stall. Turns out I called it in my analysis video. I definitely prefer this stall over steel curtains just because it has more prolonged hang time. The double down next to the lift hill gives even more ejector airtime, and you don't even have time to process it because the back-to-back 0G rolls are next. I love that the rolls are on top of each other. Makes for some good off-ride footage. This final turn here, as the train levels out and goes into the brake run, caught me completely off guard. It probably doesn't look like much in the POV, but take my word for it, the transition is so sudden that you just get slammed into the side of the train, and it's a heck of a way to end an RMC. So like I said before, I rode this 3 times, and I feel like everyone is going to prefer a different seat. In the front, the transitions are faster and give some good whip, but in the back you get all the aggressive airtime. I think it's obvious from my many Phantom marathons that I do love airtime, so this is a back row ride all the way for me, but many of the people I talked to afterwards said it was better in the front, so just know that either way, you're getting a solid ride experience. I haven't seen the coaster running when it's open to the public, but the separate load and unload areas in the station should help with capacity. On opening day, I heard the wait time was only 80 minutes, and for a brand new coaster, that's not really a bad wait time. I was expecting at least 2 hours. It's a striking coaster to look at too. The red and black really pops. I mean, just take a look at how this view changed in under a year. The rest of the event was kind of frantic since I was running all over the place to get off-ride footage before it ended, but I'm pretty happy with the result. I had to just sit there for a while and process what just happened. I can now say with confidence that Wildcat's Revenge is a work of genius, and a phenomenal addition to what was already a near-perfect coaster lineup. HersheyPark have cemented themselves as a true enthusiast destination, and from all the praise I see Wildcat getting online, that reputation has been well deserved. This alone would make a trip to HersheyPark worth it for me. When a coaster has me walking around an hour later and still thinking, yeah, that just happened, you know it's worth re-riding. It's smooth as glass, as to be expected from an RMC, and it might just be the crowd favorite at this park moving forward. For me personally, it's definitely in my top 3 at HersheyPark, but do I put it above Skyrush? Probably not right now. I need to think on it a bit longer. While I do that, I want to thank HersheyPark and their PR team for inviting me out to ride Wildcat's Revenge before it opened to the public. It was definitely worth the trip. I had a great time and met some great people too. I know it hasn't been open for that long, but if you've ridden Wildcat's Revenge, then please let me know what you thought of it in the comments. There's nothing I like doing more than talking coasters with other enthusiasts. Well, that and maybe playing old video games, but you all knew that already. With that said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be back soon with more roller coaster videos here on Rampaging Rex Productions.